What was the vibe going into Don't Look Back? What was it like? Because you got a first album, then all of a sudden you got the big tour, and you got the sophomore album. What was the vibe going into that album?
Well, as the band members, we had hopes that going into the second record, Tom, it's well known that Tom played most of the instruments on the first record, and he worked in his own studio, played most of the parts by himself. So we had hoped that when we got into the second record, especially with the pressure to come up with something quickly, that the rest of us would get a little more leeway and would have more input into it. But that didn't really turn out that way. Tom continued working the way he had, and in fact, was taking less ideas from the rest of us than he did before.
Well, when I was looking on looking at your contributions for the second album, it seemed like you were doing more on the second album.
Yeah, my involvement was about the same. I played guitar on Don't Look Back and the song that Brad wrote.
How you replicated the Boston sound on stage? Because there was so many layers of guitar and vocals and.
Yeah, well, the first arena show that we played was here in the Providence Civic Center, Providence, Rhode Island, and we were opening up for Jeff Beck. This was very early on. We had just finished the club dates in the Midwest, and we still didn't have all our crew members in place. So we were actually auditioning a sound man for the house at the show. And we were on stage playing, and the audience was looking up at us like, what the heck's going on? Because, there were vocals, there was some drums, the guitar came in and out, and apparently it was a mess out in the house. But on stage, it sounded great because the guy mixing the sound on the stage came with the equipment and knew what the hell he was doing. So anyway, we're halfway through the set, and I look over to my left, and there's Jeff Beck and Joe Perry, both standing with their arms crossed, watching us play. Pretty nervous about that. So after the show, we got to meet Jeff. And of course, he was on the same label as us. He was on Epic Records too. And he said, well, I heard your record. And he said, I didn't think there was any way you were going to reproduce that record. But he said, you did it. And it sounded just like the record. I said, oh, thank God.
Camel's Back, another one. That one had a little Zeppelin. It brought me, and it has that anthem, that big kind of anthem-y feel. Like, yeah, tell me about that tune.
Well, Camel's Back is the only song that we wrote during COVID. Like I said, all the other songs, we had most of the recording done. This one we actually wrote online over the phone. Brian had a musical idea, and he ran it by me, and I changed it up, sent it back. He sent it back out. Tim, the bass player, added something to it and went back and added vocals to it. And Mary Beth Mace sings lead on this one. We wanted to get way up in that high register, and we were kind of looking for the early Led Zeppelin kind of feel. I think we accomplished it on that one.